Ecology goes hand in hand with the economy and vice versa. One without the other will never work.
So the question is, what kind of environmentalism do we want? It's not reduction at any cost or green growth at any cost. It's another type of growth.
And welcome to a new edition of France in Focus. I'm Nadia Sharbi, and this week we're going green as we look into the country's eco-friendly credentials. According to a recent poll, 69% of the French population say they're pessimistic about our planet's future, yet 72% also report growing awareness regarding climate issues. Now, as you're about to see, they don't all put that into practice in the same way, and bad habits die hard.
How truly eco-conscious are the French? The most eco-friendly people are found in France's urban areas and often hold 1 or several degrees. Young people are more likely to pay more for green energy, but older people use their car less often and pay more attention to where their food is coming from. And when it comes to money, the richer a person is, the more likely they are to buy organic food. But despite having good intentions, French people do exhibit some contradictory behavior. 78% believe that overconsumption will lead to the collapse of our society, but admit they continue to buy just for pleasure. Buying local produce? More than 9 in 10 say they like the idea. 2/3 are even ready to forego supermarket brands if it means saving money to buy food locally. But that hasn't stopped French people from picking up other bad habits, like ordering products online that are shipped from the other side of the globe. The weak spot in France's efforts to go green is home deliveries. Almost 1/3 of French people choose one-day delivery options when placing orders, an option that favors heavily polluting modes of transportation. Worse still, 3/4 of French people say they would be willing to switch brands if that means receiving their orders even faster.
On the political front, 2020 saw French voters give the green light to environmentalists in local elections, handing them the helm of a number of large cities, including Bordeaux, Lyon and Strasbourg. For inspiration, these new mayors can perhaps turn towards the pioneer city of Grenoble, which has been in green hands since 2014, with mixed results. Because sustainability comes at a very high price in large urban areas, the best ideas might actually come at a smaller scale in France's most eco-friendly villages.
Nestled at the foot of the Alps, Grenoble has been a green city for 6 years now. Publicity displays have given way to trees, the town centre pedestrianised, and cycle lanes have popped up on the main thoroughfares.
Excellent pour les cyclistes. Il y a plus de pistes, on est plus à l'aise, on est plus en sécurité.
Yet these changes have prompted long traffic jams at rush hour, and it's increasingly difficult for those who live in the suburbs to reach the city centre. As a result, many shops have seen a dip in custom, including this kitchen supplies store.
L'écologie va avec l'économie et l'économie va avec l'écologie. L'un sans l'autre, ça ne marchera jamais. J'entends mon maire dire que Grenoble est un laboratoire. Moi, je ne suis pas un rat, quoi.
Eric Pioul's been mayor of Grenoble since 2014. For him, it's a glimpse of what's to come.
L'avenir du commerce de proximité, c'est des centres-villes qui sont plus agréables, plus piétons, auxquels on peut accéder en transport en commun, en vélo, et où finalement la voiture reprend une place en bordure et non pas au cœur des villes.
Yet it's often beyond these city centres where green initiatives are truly flourishing. Rural communities at the cutting edge of the ecological shift. Langouette's one of them, a 100% green village where the school canteen serves organic, local produce, renewable energy abounds, and these eco-homes are highly sought after.
On veut faire la démonstration dans notre commune que construire écologique, ça n'est pas construire plus cher.
Ungersheim in Alsace is another model village. In a bid to cut down on CO2 emissions, some children here go to school in a horse and cart.
J'aime bien faire ce trajet en calèche, ça économise du pétrole. Si on l'utilise de trop, ça pollue la planète et un jour on n'en aura plus.
With just 2,400 residents, this municipality is home to the region's largest solar power plant. The site employs 150 people.
Cette transition énergétique, on a commencé il y a une bonne quinzaine d'années, voire plus. Il n'y a pas de planification écologique dans ce pays, ce qui est regrettable. Nous sommes un peu les pionniers de l'affaire.
Ungersheim saves some 600 tons of CO2 every year and is looking to be totally self-sufficient in energy by 2023.
For more now on how France takes on the individual, collective and political challenges of climate change, I've come to La Base, or the Base. Home to 10 NGOs, this workspace aims to kickstart awareness and activism on environmental but also social justice issues. I'm here to meet Green activist Mathilde Imer, who's the co-president of the Open Democracy Project. Hello, thank you very much for being with us.
Bonjour.
In light of the current crisis, you contributed to an open letter to President Emmanuel Macron. Tell us about it.
In the context of the health crisis, all of us who signed the letter became aware at the same time of the frailty of our economic system and also of the connections between the economic crisis and the health crisis. And so the basic idea was to say, because there's a health crisis that's going to lead to an economic crisis and a massive recovery plan using public funding, let's not recover the economic world of yesterday, which was very fragile, as demonstrated by the health crisis, and let's build a more resilient world. Let's have a recovery that we could call green, or a transformation plan that changes our economy more profoundly. That was the first idea. The second was to say we can't rebuild a different economy without putting citizens, local governments, and economic actors first, and to co-create and not just have a recovery plan launched from high up at the Élysée Palace in a sort of grim way.
And in fact, those divisions were palpable even before the COVID crisis, with the so-called Yellow Vest movement that went on for several months and was sparked by a hike in fuel prices. Why is it so hard to combine green policies and social justice?
I don't know if that's the biggest challenge. That's just the way certain people frame it. I believe in grassroots environmentalism. I also think, and we see statistics that show it, that you don't need to carry out a green transition to see inequalities increase hugely. So the question is, what kind of environmentalism do we want? Do we want an environmentalism where we continue to believe in the green growth of the economy that today leads to numerous social inequalities? Or do we consider that what counts has to be different, that the growth of the economy isn't necessarily what generates happiness and personal fulfillment? And so it's not reduction at any cost or green growth at any cost, it's another type of growth.
Now, obviously, individual engagement is the key to collective action. Tell us a bit about the Citizens' Climate Convention that was set up in October 2019.
The Citizens' Climate Convention was born after the Yellow Vest movement, when there was a moment where politically and in the media, some were trying to oppose the environmental movement and the social movement, the green vests and the yellow vests. Since we had the impression that different citizens were in opposition to each other, we got together a citizens' assembly, citizens chosen at random, representative of the diversity of French society, to establish how to combine environmental ambitions and social justice. And these 150 citizens met over the course of 7 weekends, and last June they submitted to the president and to the government 149 proposals that would limit greenhouse gas emissions by 40%, in keeping with the values of social justice. And the president promised at the start of the process to advance them without a filter down the path of either direct implementation, a parliamentary vote, or a referendum, with the exception of 3 which the president decided to veto and sort of go back on. But if the 146 other measures pass according to the no-filter promise, then we'll have an environmental transition that's starting to get serious and would really link social and environmental justice. And it would be approved by citizens, including some who were climate skeptics starting out, but who had a change of heart over the course of the process.
Mathilde Imer, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In France, as elsewhere, it's the country's youth that are spearheading environmental efforts in a bid to safeguard their future, but also perhaps turn back the climate clock. And that's a tall order for a generation that's been brought up on frenetic consumption and click-ready online shopping, as Greta Thunberg's French peers know full well.
For the past year and a half, Jessica has been at war with fast fashion.
J'ai pris des restes de tissu d'une robe pour faire un bandeau.
The high school student took advantage of the lockdown period to transform her wardrobe. Almost all of her clothes are second-hand.
Ça, c'est une veste en cuir que j'ai achetée en vide dressing à 10 €. Après, ça, c'est une veste que je garde quand j'achetais du fast fashion encore. Donc ça, c'est de Zara, mais j'achète plus chez Zara, bien sûr.
Jessica's change in values has also affected her plans for the future. Instead of fashion, she now plans to pursue a degree in sustainable development. She even promotes her redesigned clothes on social media websites, despite their impact on the environment.
Si on n'a pas ce moyen de communication d'échelle globale, on ne peut pas arrêter le problème, on ne peut pas agir concrètement.
Camille and Solal also rely on social networking sites. They ask their followers to send them suggestions for vacations in France.
Ok, écoutez, il promet... Ton m'en chier, frère.
C'est quoi?
Il promet monter le plus haut volcan de France.
Yes, c'est celui-là.
The 22 and 24-year-olds stopped traveling by plane a year and a half ago. They use social media to publish videos of their journey.
On va raconter tout ça en vidéo et puis on espère vous donner envie de partir aussi en vacances en France, sans avion, sans argent, juste à l'aventure comme ça, à l'arrache. Et vous montrer que c'est possible.
Ça va être trop bien.
Ça va être très très long.
Their first step on the way to the Auvergne volcanoes, getting out of Paris, which only takes a few minutes.
C'est vraiment trop sympa. Ça nous sauve.
2 days and 450 kilometers later, they spend the night at a homestay.
C'était trop cool.
T'es vraiment un amour, merci 1000 fois.
Camille's epiphany about traveling by plane came after she calculated her carbon footprint.
Je pensais être bien parce que je mangeais presque pas de viande, j'achetais pas d'habits neufs, j'étais bien quoi. Et en fait, il me fallait 5 planètes, donc autant qu'un Américain moyen. Là, je me suis dit, mais c'est fou parce que je pensais du bon côté quoi. Et en fait, en enlevant l'avion, alors que je l'ai pris quelques fois dans l'année, je me suis rendu compte qu'il fallait plus qu'une planète. Donc je me suis dit, ok, c'est ça.
With their videos, which have gathered thousands of views, they hope to set an example that will inspire others to change their habits too.
And on that hopeful note, we leave this edition. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to France 24.